think we all knew when the Denver Broncos made the trade for Russell Wilson, man, enough was enough. Now, I got to give some credit here. Now, as a Vikings fan, I watched George Payton sit there behind Rick Spielman, and sometimes I would question. I would question if he was not going to be a heck of a GM because he sat there and he did a lot of great things with he did a lot of great things with the Vikings, and it was kind of one of those things where you saw him and you're like, okay, he's going to be something special, not only because he's sitting there behind a guy like Rick Spielman, but because he's a guy that, he just has that look about him. He was involved in a lot of the success for the Vikings, and clearly that's carrying over because in perhaps his biggest move, he brings in one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And it's one of those things where that was the missing piece. Like, that was what the Broncos needed. You went through the Teddy Bridgewater, the Drew Lock woes, and now you're in a position where you literally have a quarterback that can elevate your team. I mean, he did it for the Seahawks for years. For years. This man was the only reason that the Broncos were ever relevant. And now they've got a franchise guy. Just with this one trade, the Broncos go from, third, fourth team in the AFC West to challenging to win that, not only win that division, but also take on the rest of the AFC and potentially go to the playoffs next year. Like, that's how good Russell Wilson is, and especially now he's got a good offensive line, or a better offensive line. He's got more weapons. Now, the only tad bit of complaining I have to talk about is, man, you couldn't keep Noah Fant. That sucks. I mean, Noah Fant, I got nothing but love and respect for Noah Fant. Like, just, come on, this man has been waiting for a good quarterback his entire career. Now you do this to him. Like, that was my only little bit of critique. But other than that, I love the trade, and at the end of the day, and I get it. You had to give up something because, the Seahawks just weren't going to give up Russell Wilson for nobody. Like, they had to get a little something back. So I get it. Obviously, they needed something to sweeten the deal player-wise. Obviously, they got the picks, but they needed something player-wise to sweeten the deal, and I get it. So, at the end of the day, when you get quarterbacks like this, it's one of the most exciting things. But, now I'm really excited to see where the Broncos kind of shift their focus moving forward. Now, obviously, they're going to be without a first-round pick this year. But, I am overall very excited to see what the Broncos do. Because, again, Russell Wilson is that guy that can and will elevate your franchise. You've got a ton of weapons in Denver, and I think the Broncos are going to be in a position where it is going to be one of those things where they can start to build the small things. Finish building the offensive line, which actually is pretty good right now. I don't have a whole lot of complaints. I felt like, man, Quinn Miners is a stud. I love Quinn Miners, and Garrett Bowles is a stud as well. So Dalton Reisner, the list goes on, but I think, as it stands right now, Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, who I feel like could really have himself a really good season coming up with a quality quarterback, KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, obviously Tim Patrick. Like, they've got a lot of good players on offense, and I'm really excited, even for the defensive side of the football. You talk about the addition of Randy Gregory too. I think he's going to be a big time addition. Him and Bradley Chubb are going to do some big time stuff. I've also been a big Drummond Jones fan since he pretty much came into the league. This defense is looking really good right now as well. So for a team that, if we're being honest, they were in a lot of their games last year. They were in there were some games where if they had Russell Wilson, I'm sure they win at least 10 games last year. Like that, there's no question, just with this roster. And obviously, heading forward into the draft, obviously, again, without a first-round pick, I think it is going to be a little tough. But overall, I do think, they're not going to be on the board till 64. But there are still some things they could do. There's some value in this draft that the Broncos could look to address. And again, I know we're only early in this process, but I have a feeling when it's all said and done, we could be looking at a team that, if we're being honest, might have only needs at corner heading into the draft, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like that's the only. It could be wrong, but at the end of the day, you've got a lot of good things going for you, and I do think that they are in a position as to where they will find a way to address the rest of these needs heading into the draft. And man, they're just going to be fun to watch. I'm really excited to see Russell Wilson behind a team that is actually built to win. And honestly, I also think the Seahawks are going to rebuild pretty quickly, but still, for right now, Russell Wilson, the missing piece for the Denver Broncos, big time stuff coming. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. In the description down below, you'll find all of our social media platforms, so give us a like and a follow there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about Russell Wilson being the missing piece for the Denver Broncos.